New York City, 1984. Crime is at an all-time high. Gangs of drugged-out punks roam the streets, preying on the innocent. A rash of kidnappings involving young women has gripped the city with fear. The citizens of New York are fed up. The city needs hope. The city needs a hero.
A ninja! Jesus, it's in the title, people! God damn it.
Well, that was Caleb Leger, and I'm Josh Allred. Welcome to a very special Filmgazm. Happy Wednesday, everybody. I hope you are well rested and recovered from your post-Valentine's humpings and you haven't chafed your loins too much. I, for one, haven't done anything. What about you?
Nothing, it's my dog's birthday, so that's all I really care about.
Yes, so a very special happy birthday to the only dog that matters as far as Filmgazm goes, Duke. He is 8 years old, reaching way, way, way deep into old man dog territory. So, happy birthday, Duke.
Yeah, live a lot longer, Duke. I can't imagine life without you, so I swear to God, Duke, I need you.
He's single, ladies. All right, so...
That's why I need Duke.
All right, so I don't really have much as far as, rewind material goes, although I think we could talk a little bit about the trailer for the yet another Children of the Corn movie that's coming out. What do you think about this little soon-to-be-released jaunt from the old Corn Boys, or Corn Kids, since, we want to make sure that everybody is represented?
I so badly wanted to say cornhole, and I was like, there's children involved. Let's not go that route.
No, that's something you find on Pornhub, I'm sure.
Or if you're Marilyn Manson. Look, this is a series that, let's just be honest with ourselves, and I'm not coming after anyone who loves this franchise. For me, I think, like a lot of horror fans, the first one's decent enough. I own it. It's a fun enough watch. After that, I could care less about any of the sequels that came out or the sci-fi remake that came out a long time ago. So for me, I'm like, hey, you know what? Why not? Let's see what you can do with this. I'm not it's not compared to everything else kind of coming out this year that we know as far as now coming out. It's not way up there, but I'll give it a shot. I'll see what they gotta do. It did look like they're going in on the gore and the violence, which I'm always up for any kind of carnage candy. So even if it's not great but gives me gore, I'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things I really enjoy about the first Children of the Corn and the story in general is that it actually is a way that Stephen King was writing folk horror before it really got labeled as such. So that idea in and of itself is worth exploring, especially when you consider that there is kind of a resurgence of kind of fundamentalism and extremism as far as religious minded people go. So I, like you, I don't really have high hopes for it. I'm always interested because I think the idea is something that is always ripe to explore, and who knows, we could be surprised, although with the way the movie was delayed originally and all kinds of rumors were coming out about the production and reshoots and all this other stuff, who knows what we're actually going to get. I'm just always going to be there to support horror in theaters, because horror movies are the only thing that keeps theaters alive, even though everybody wants to malign them and the Academy really just for some reason hates horror movies. I don't know.
We're going after everybody in the first 4 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. I don't care. Come at me, bro. Find me on the internet. Let's do battle.
No, I'm with you. And I actually talked about this recently with I not the most recent talked about horror film, The Outwaters, but with Skinamarink. I wasn't able to see it in theaters. Wasn't really playing anywhere near us when I looked. But I caught it when it finally got put on Shudder, and I'm one of those that look. It wasn't. I didn't care for it all that much. I thought it was okay. It was much more of an experience than a film. But I was happy it was successful. So in the day, that's a win for horror. Whether it's something I don't really care for, or like I said, another Children of Corn film, hey, it's a win for horror. It's whether it's another franchise getting the next installment or an original film coming out, a win's a win. Like with March coming up, right? They're opening fucking Scream 6 and 65. And it's like, look, you have a weekend. I'm sure I know how people are going to be. Man, there's nothing original coming out. You probably won't watch it because you're going to go see Scream 6. Let's just be honest with ourselves. But the option's there. And I sincerely hope both do good, because then it says, like, hey, we still want the stuff that we do like and enjoy, new installments, but also we want this new exciting thing, especially because Jurassic World Man can go suck my dick, and I want a good dinosaur movie, goddammit.
You hear that, folks? Go support Caleb and his love of dinosaur movies. God damn it. Okay, so we are talking about new movies. We're talking about, new installments, reboots, things like that. I think that's a decent enough segue, and I'm just gonna go for it to kind of talk about our movie this week, which for 35 plus years was just forgotten, unfinished, sitting in a can in a long defunct company's catalog, and was picked up by one of the most, I guess, for me, one of the more beloved boutique labels that are out there. I'm talking, of course, about the fine folks at Vinegar Syndrome, who do some of the best work when it comes to restoration, preservation of genre films of all stripes. Not just horror or exploitation, but action movies, kung fu movies, pornos. Like, these people are...
So they just had their Peakorama sale for Valentine's Day. So those who want to get some hardcore erotica, you get it at a reduced price.
Look, and if you can't watch porn with your lover, then why are you even in a relationship? Just saying.
Mm-hmm. And don't ask how Navy people watch porn. You don't want to hear the answer to that. When on deployment, you will be disturbed.
I wasn't going to let those fine folks that listen to this show where their tax dollars are going, but yeah, you kind of just let a little bit of that cat out of the bag, so to speak.
I don't care.
It's traded like currency. Anyway, so...
Hot Pockets. What?
So look, the movie we're talking about is New York Ninja. This movie was unfinished, had no sound, no script, and was not even edited at the time that the editor and director, Curtis Spieler, I hope I'm not butchering your name, actually saw the box that contained the actual film elements for it and was excited about what could be in there. Say what you will about the movie that Curtis and Vinegar Syndrome released, whether you just didn't enjoy it. I don't know how you couldn't. But these people are champions of cinema first and foremost. They've developed a reputation over the years as a company devoted to restoring and preserving lost or forgotten films. In Curtis's own words, they treat all of these forgotten films as if they were Citizen Kane. And that's what sets Vinegar Syndrome apart from other boutique labels. Their passion and commitment to bringing these hidden gems out of the shadows and into the light to get the audience they deserve. It's been one of these companies that I have really latched onto because with a simple description, they could get me to blind buy almost anything. And I have yet to be let down by anything I've gotten from them. and I would be really sad if I never got anything from them ever again. But what they've done to this point has been nothing short of outstanding, and they continue to push the envelope, along with a lot of the partner labels that they bring in under their umbrella.
The recent branch now into publishing comics and books. Now they saved Ibon Press, which was great.
I was just getting to that.
Oh,
So
took the one out of his cells.
no,
Yes.
no, you didn't take the wind out of my sails.
In my head, I did. Go on.
Okay. Whatever makes you sleep at night.
That will make me sleep at night.
So, like, if you guys listened to our episode on the Beyond way back last year, no shit, it's almost 2 years now.
It was almost 2 years.
Connor and I, with the help of Sean Lewis from Ibon Press, he hooked us up with some of the run that they did for the Beyond, and we used that as a companion piece to compare with Lucio Fulci's seminal film, one of my personal favorites of his, and showed that, being able to be a fan of something is a great way to expand upon it, an idea, and bring something even more outrageous onto pages. If you haven't had a chance to get to Ibon Press and check their shit out, do it now. And be thankful that somehow, some way, by Satan's sweet magic, Vinegar Syndrome and Ibon have teamed up, and we're going to continue to get the quality work that they've been putting out on their own. Sean is amazing, and I was very fortunate and very grateful that he allowed us to look at his comics and compare them to Lucio Fulci's work. So I'm looking forward to everything that comes out of their collaboration with Vinegar Syndrome and Vinegar Syndrome Publishing.
Yeah, I wasn't on that episode. I think that's when I was either on my deployment at the time or in the process of moving. I forgot. I know I was doing something, so it just wasn't feasible. But because when you guys did that, I looked into it. Because I know you had told me once about Ibon back when you got the some issues of Zombie in a contest, and I looked into it, but it was that time I just didn't have the money at the time. And then when you guys brought it up, I was like, oh yeah, let me look into that. And now you've seen my collection. I got anything that they had in stock, full series of. I've been reading so much of it. I was very, very happy to see that because I've been reading the Maniac 2 issues. Issue 3, fucking wild. I read, Escape from the Beyond, issue 1, which was great. I've been doing the original stuff in the Wasteland 1989 series, so it's knowing that that shit. I'm not gonna be left with a cliffhanger on a lot of stuff because I'm really getting into it, and like I said, I love what what they put into it, the craft and just the passion, and knowing that stuff's continuing. I am going to keep getting it, and now like you said, a movie company that is one of the best when it comes to being a physical release company. And they announced that they're starting with reissues of Zombie, which was the one I was trying to get, but just my luck, of course, when I got on there, the big issue that had all of them was sold out, and a couple individual issues were sold out already. So I was like, fuck. But the reissuing it, I can fucking read Zombie now and see all the cool shit they did with adapting that and expanding on it. Can't wait. But yeah, Vinegar Syndrome itself, kind of going back to them there. I know you're a lot deeper with what you have in the collection than I do. Right now, I've been kind of relatively safe and sticking with stuff I've seen on Joe Bob, or when they do things like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, or one of my personal favorite Swayze films that I will never, ever not let anyone see in their lives, Roadhouse. God, that movie's magical. So, but what I've gone, I love, I adore, because it's like you said, it doesn't matter if it's something like Blood Harvest or they got their hands on, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. They put the same amount of love and care in either one, regardless of, it's quote unquote status in horror and cinema history, and that's awesome. There's nothing, they always do their best with what they can do with that film.
Oh, totally. And they put their money where their mouth is. Just the other day, they showed a picture of their new film scanner. and they were like, "Oh, hey, you know all that money you guys gave to us by buying into our sales and all that stuff. This is what it went to." And they really are all about giving back to the fans who are themselves as well as we are. If you are even just casually collecting things, I mean, they have movies that you would absolutely want to have. For me, like a personal favorite of mine from back in the video store days was Ticks. And when they were like, "Yeah, we're doing a 4K of it," I was like, buying it. Didn't even need to hear or see anything else. That's when I went and I immediately jumped on that. Like you said about Texas Chainsaw 2. I had I think it's the Gruesome Edition DVD. I had that for the longest time, still do. And when they said they were doing the 4K of it, boom, day one, easy sell for me. I enjoy it because having Vinegar Syndrome and Arrow and Scream Factory, Severin, like all these, it's like having a friend of yours that has seen more movies than you telling you, "Hey dude, you like that? You're gonna love this. What is it? Oh well, wait till you find out." I mean, like to bring Severin back up, they did a release of Blood for Dracula, and then Vinegar Syndrome said, "Okay, cool, we're gonna do Flesh for Frankenstein." Two of the weirdest ass fucking movies that you would never even know about unless you were involved or really into underground cult movies. And the fact that those movies are even available now is amazing, and I love it. And that work and that love and that passion is what brought New York Ninja to life. Because for the longest time, it was just a series of film rolls in a box labeled New York Ninja that was owned by a now long defunct company called 21st Century Distribution. They went bankrupt in the 80s, and Vinegar Syndrome acquired their catalog. Curtis, at the time, was a new employee of Vinegar Syndrome. He was walking through, getting led around by a guy named Brandon Upson, who is a longtime employee and the resident film scanner. Curtis asked him about the box, and he was pretty sure that all of the original camera rolls of the unfinished movie were inside. And Curtis was determined to find out what was in there. But how does a movie like New York Ninja go unseen for over 35 years? Like, what happened? What happened to cause this movie to not even be released and to be just stuck on a shelf? Because that is a fate that happens more times than most movie watching people even are aware of. It happens a lot more now because we have a lot more transparency, but this is not something that's new and something that people just go, "Oh wow, like I didn't even know that movie didn't even get released."
And some people forget some big hit films they love sat on shelves for years. Just thinking about it, another horror franchise that people latched onto, but the Paranormal Activity franchise, a lot of people forgot that, like, oh, dude, like, they were such geniuses with the first one and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, they sat on that film for, like, years. It's like, the film was completed well before 2007, and then it just sat and sat until finally, I think it was Paramount that owns the series. Yeah, they do, because they put the newest one on Paramount Plus. They own it, and they just did it. And the execs do this all the time. They kind of routinely go through their shit and like, we're just sitting on the shelf that we haven't. Maybe we could dump something out. Luck of the draw, they grabbed Paranormal Activity, and then it ended up becoming like a humongous hit that took away from Saw. Not that I'm still jealous or anything, but become a hit. And a lot of people forget that so many films you love, so many, especially as I've been kind of on the show I host Beyond the Bad and delving into like how this stuff gets made a lot more on like those films at least. So much that we now love and laud are films that sometimes just sat because the studios thought no one wants to fucking see this.
Yeah, and one of the other questions is like, who was involved in the production, and would they even be alive to give any insight as to what happened? From what I can gather from the making of doc and the book that was included with the release, the physical release of New York Ninja, there wasn't a lot of information to go on, and they don't really know what happened. I mean, I'm sure there were some budgetary issues that led to it being shelved. I mean, there was one person that they needed to get in touch with, and that was a name that showed up on the slate as the director, and that name was John Liu. John Liu, for me, he was a new name, but if you were a fan of kung fu flicks from Hong Kong in the 70s and 80s, he was absolutely a known factor as far as that goes. And before that, he was just a guy that got trained in Taekwondo by a man named Tan Tao Lang, who was also known as Flashlegs, due to his impressive kicking technique that John actually developed his own style for and showed off with some impressive footwork in New York Ninja. Say what you will about the fight scenes in this movie. Like, I know for me at times it's way choreographed and you kind of know like what's going to happen. I mean, I even made a joke when I was watching it with Connor when he was here that it kind of reminded me of Holliston when they were doing the recreation of the fight where they were getting robbed for the camera.
Yeah.
So, like everything was very telegraphed, but the ability that John Liu has, I mean, not only was he the director, he also was doing a lot of the fight choreography for the movie. So the guy had a lot of experience prior to doing this, and this was actually supposed to be his fourth film that he was going to direct. Shortly after leaving Hong Kong, he settled in France and started a production company with his wife at the time, and they released 3 movies. Those didn't really get a lot of acclaim or any kind of just didn't find their audience, and so John kind of just gave up and moved on with his life. What we know now is that he tried one more time with what would end up becoming New York Ninja. That never finished, obviously. And so he went, apparently, from the way the story goes, to live in Vietnam off the grid and just didn't even want to talk about it. Brad Henderson, somebody who worked for Vinegar Syndrome for a long time, doing a lot of their behind the scenes stuff. He was very good at finding people. He has since moved on to doing TerrorVision and releasing a lot of movies there. So I'm looking forward to what he can do. I've had some really good interactions with him on Twitter. So I am very excited about what he can do. But yeah, he was trying to track John Liu down, and from what he found out, John did not want to talk about it. So there's a lot of this that you're just it's going to be lost forever.
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually something that Curtis and the other owners of Vinegar Syndrome were already planning for, because there was no script to work with, there was no sound, so they were already prepared to kind of just make their own, to use Lloyd Kaufman's phrase, make their own damn movie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of curious for you, not knowing a lot other than what I've brought up about it in conversation. Like, what was your impression of this movie when you saw it?
Oh, I mean when I actually saw it, because unfortunately the first time we watched it, I was having to do the Beyond the Bad script, but I got lucky and watched on Saturday actually, without doing anything else, just focused on the movie. It was fun. Look, I'm one of those that and I was thinking about this when you brought up the fight choreography. It's kind of like, it's a weird pet peeve, I guess, maybe not, But when people go like, "Oh, this old movie's corny because it's old," "Oh, it's I don't like it because it's old," and to me, like I'm one of those. I'm like, when you're watching something, and even though this was released now, it was made in the '80s, and I get, obviously now we live in what we like to call the post John Wick world. We have seen what action cinema can be in, a fucking John Wick film universe. And yeah, it's awesome. I love those movies. But obviously when I'm watching something like New York Ninja or anything older, that's not fucking John Wick or The Raid or, insert any other, big hit, action film from the past like 10 years. Here, I know I'm not going to get obviously that because it was a different time. With that said, yeah, I have seen better martial arts films from that time, absolutely. But this film was fun. Like there, you can tell. I think what makes it work so well is that I'm very curious from what happened with John Lee. Would not want to talk about this at all. But it looked like there was genuine like heart in what was trying to be made, and you get the feeling that yeah, this was a guy that was like, look, this is my last shot, and if not, I'm done. And you can kind of like you kind of get that feeling as you're watching it, but I had a good time. Like it's an outrageous plot of like, and granted they're using kind of the same old thing of like New York at an all-time high crime in 1980. Like yeah, it's 1980s New York, we know. But they use that in a way that works, and yeah, it looks goofy when he's out doing his stuff in the middle of the day. It's definitely. I think Connor made the comment when you guys were watching about like, yeah, that's why they don't film Batman during the day or something like that.
Yeah,
because it looks goofy. But this film embraces what it is, and that's what I'm all about. When a film says, "Look, I know I'm over the top, I know I'm ridiculous, but fuck it, let's just embrace and have a good time," I have a good time, and that's what this film did. It was just a fun time with some of the most cheesy, like very over choreographed fight scenes, outrageous villains, even by like 1980s New York film standards, and like just a whole lot of fun. And the added benefit of like them having to bring, Vinegar Syndrome having to bring actors in now to do the voice in a script and actually try to make it feel like the martial arts films of that time with the bad dubbing adds just a whole other charm that I'm probably actually sure would not have been there had it been completed in 1984. But now you have that weird charm of people trying to say, let's make it feel like that. That goes a long way for me. I mean, fucking, you got Michael Berryman voicing like this sadistic serial killer in the film. Like that's fucking awesome. Ginger Lynn, fucking just randomly voicing someone like, hey, fuck it, let's go. So I for my first time watching, kind of hearing the few things I heard about it, I had a lot of fun. It's one that I can see like putting on for like a party, or if I just want to have a good time, it's something I could throw on easy.
Yeah, no. So like one of the things that Curtis was planning for when he knew that he was going to be given the ability to actually put this together was to just first get everything organized and edited. And even then, he still had no idea what this movie was about. They had a plan to hire a lip reader so they could figure out what people were saying. But then he was like, wait, what you were saying about the dubbing that they did and how the dialogue didn't always match what the lips were saying, like that was all intentional. That was Curtis's way of giving a nod to a lot of the kung fu movies that he loved and how the dubbing was always like that. And even for me and for you as well, watching a lot of Italian horror movies, mm-hmm. That is an absolute hallmark of the way they made their movies. The Italians loved to shoot theirs without sound, mm-hmm. and then have the actors themselves dub themselves in English, mm-hmm. and it makes for a whole other level of experience.
All the terrible dubbing in old Godzilla films, oh, fucking watch them all the time. Get such a kick out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it becomes a way for you to engage with the film, on a one-on-one, but then as well in company with friends, you get a whole other level of enjoyment out of it. Me personally, this was absolutely and I know you like to give me shit about it and make fun of me, but it's a party movie. It is definitely one of those things that you put on with a pizza and beers in front of you and you guys just go out and enjoy it. I mean, if you have a problem with a movie where a guy is a ninja and he's in roller skates, I don't think I want to be friends with you.
I had a moment when that scene popped up where I was like, is he on roller skates? And what I love is that it only pops up in that one scene and then they go away. And I'm like, why was he in roller skates?
Not only that, did you catch the part where he jumped over the car, didn't have roller skates on, landed on his feet, and then in the next shot, he's on roller skates again? Like, shit like that, for me as a film student and somebody who loves when continuity is played with and it's done in such a way that, like, the people that edited and shot this movie were just like, yeah, how the fuck is a guy going to jump over a car in roller skates and we're going to be able to, ensure his safety? We're not. So this is what we're going to do. And we don't care because you're going to see it and you're going to be like, oh, fucking, of course, like you're going to have fun with it.
Oh, yeah.
And that is something that I always enjoy about movies, period. It's probably why I love trauma movies so much, is they let you in on the joke. They're not trying to, impress you with a slick production value or fucking explosions or big name actors and cheesy fucking one-liners and shit. No, they're going out there, they're giving you a straight up story, because the story of this whole movie is very, very simple. John is waiting to celebrate with his girlfriend, who tells him that she's pregnant. And then when she's leaving to go to work, she runs across the very dastardly gangster named Cufflinks. Yeah, that's his fucking name in the fucking movie. I'm not even joking.
He does indeed wear cufflinks.
Yeah, not like he's advertising them either. Like, it's not like it's part of his character. He just has a suit and he's got flashy cufflinks. That's it. Nothing even more than that. And that was something else that Curtis had pointed out when he was looking at the footage. It's like, even the bad guys, like, they all look like they're from different movies. They have these outlandish costumes. And he immediately understood kind of what he had in front of him. And he was even more excited. Mm-hmm. So that as he was putting this together, he was like, all right, I've got this movie put together. This is what we need to do as far as the voice actors. So, like, if you're thinking about action movies and you're thinking about the 80s, there are very few names that come to mind. I was really pleased with the fact that they got Don the Dragon Wilson and Cynthia Rothrock to be in this. They also got some other fucking 80s mainstays. You had already mentioned Ginger Lynn. Mm. We also had Linnea Quigley and, the ever wonderful Michael fucking Berryman to do the voice for the Plutonium Killer, which, if I'm not mistaken, is the exact name from the bad guy in Repo Man. So I'm pretty sure Curtis was borrowing judiciously from that movie for the name of the killer. I could be wrong. I am shooting from the hip right now. But again, it's just showing where Curtis is borrowing his love of genre movies and the actors for those genre movies. And when he started this, it was in late 2019. And then, as most people know, early in 2020, the whole fucking world went to shit. And COVID really put a big fucking damper on this movie. And only after a few months did they actually have the ability to work remotely, and then that even expanded their options. So, like, it's amazing that this movie sat for 35 years, almost had a pandemic stop it from being fully realized, only for the pandemic to even kind of like open up the options for the voice actors in this movie. And oh, by the way, not only did they have no sound from this movie, they had no music or fucking special, special effects, like fight sounds and shit like that. All of that stuff had to be added. My next question for you. So, like, being a fan of genre movies and all of that, like hearing familiar voices, how did that kind of play against what your expectations were for how they were used in the movie?
Oh, that's a good one. It it kind of throws me for a loop because what I like that Vinegar Syndrome is that they didn't try to make it look like a movie released in 2021. Then no way were they like, let's do some post work, make it look like it's released now. They kept it looking like when it was filmed, but you're hearing people that yes, they were big at that time, but obviously they're much older. They sound different because they are older, so they sound like they do now. And it definitely is like, oh, is that like you're like, is that Michael Berryman voicing? Is that Linnea Quigley I'm hearing? And you're not expecting it because you're hearing them, but it's not the actor you're seeing because they are dubbing. And I think to me it just added more to the enjoyment because of it, because it's like kind of you brought it up when we talked about like Italian cinema, right? And you mentioned it, like when they dubbed, they didn't just dub the Italian actors. It was, hey, I know you're American and you spoke English, but we need to dub you also. So it almost kind of felt like that, like, hey, we know you're speaking English, but we need you to have dub over this. Even though it makes no sense, but fuck it, we're going to do it anyway. And it just to me added another wonderful like just fun quality to it. Um, and you can tell like everyone involved was like really in on the joke, really in on what's going on. So it's not like they all played it just right. Like they knew what to use the fucking term that people like to use all the time. They understood the assignment. Um, so yeah, it throws you for a loop at first for sure. So you're like, I am hearing this actor and actress that I like a lot, but I'm not seeing their face. But then as you get accustomed to the film, you're like, oh, but it kind of works because you get what they're doing. You get the joke.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that is like how you can tell that somebody like Curtis and the people at Vinegar Syndrome, being fans of genre cinema in general, knowing what they had and kind of understanding their audience for this kind of movie, knew that they could make this movie this way and that it was going to get the audience that it deserved. I mean, I don't think it's too far out of the realm of possibility that this movie could have been finished and released in the 80s and it wouldn't have found its audience later on. It would have been a big cult hit and all of that. I mean, who knows what would have happened with John Liu had this movie even had an actual theatrical release. Maybe he would have made some other movies. Maybe he would have gone on to do stunt work or choreography for other 80s movies. I mean, we'll never know. But the fact that you had people who are fans of cinema, fans of genre cinema specifically, behind this and coming at it with, like I said at the top, passion and commitment to getting this thing realized, it only makes it that much better. And I would put this experience with watching this kind of movie and the story behind it up against anything that's gotten released in the last 10 or 15 years right off the jump, because this movie has a certain amount of heart and charm to it that for all of its goofiness and its over the top acting and some really strange characters in it. I mean, from the very stock cookie cutter, like the everyman that John Liu plays, who takes it upon himself to be the hero that the city needs because he's fed up with the police who feel like their hands are tied and they can only do so much. He's willing to go that much farther, which, like Connor said before, very much like Batman.
And also the ninja the city needs. The ninja.
Hero. Ninja.
Hero. Just ninja. It's in the title.
Very much so. I was actually talking to a friend and they asked me, so what's this movie about? A ninja in New York, obviously. And yeah, I was being intentionally vague and funny, only because, again, you look at the title, New York Ninja, you're like, I mean, I'm in, but what the fuck is this movie about? Um, and a lot of these characters are just so over the top, and they all feel like they're from different movies, but somehow they all exist in this one world. It's
Mm-hmm.
crazy. Like you would expect to find the character of the plutonium killer in something a little bit dirtier and
Mm-hmm.
nastier, but somehow he fits into this movie and operates in a way that you're just like, yeah, sure, whatever. And of course, he has a fucking henchman chauffeur with a rat tail who's
Yeah.
also a very dastardly swordsman. You know, it's like
What
where the fuck did these fucking people come up with this shit?
a dastardly swordsman, known for his shrunken fight style. Also, because I mean, obviously, I like Trauma 2, but you're much more into it. I kind of felt like Rat Tail rocked off a Trauma movie and somehow found his way into this film. When I was watching it, the whole time I was like, I feel like he could easily be like a bad guy in a Trauma film.
Oh, absolutely, fucking both of them, the plutonium killer and fucking rat tail. And I'm not making that up. Caleb's not making that up. That is actually his credited character name in the movie, Rat Tail. Look it up. Um, I mean, it sucks because I feel like the people who actually physically made this movie deserve a lot of credit, but because there wasn't a lot of end credit stuff done for the movie, nobody really knows like who a lot of these people are. And I mean, short of like knowing who John Liu was, like you just don't know exactly who was in this movie. So a lot of these people aren't getting the credit that they're due for making this outrageous ass movie. It's kind of weird. Like it's quickly become one of my favorite movies that I picked up while I was gone. I was really excited that I could get my hands on the actual physical release, even though I'm sure because Vinegar Syndrome owns it, they're gonna have it indefinitely.
Mm.
I really wanted to get the special edition that they were putting out with the booklet and the nice fucking hard case that they packaged the movie in. Um, it was in a huge fucking pile of a lot of the movies that I had you buy me while I was gone, and I was very, very, very excited when I got my hands on it when I came back, and I was so happy with what I got. So if anybody from Vinegar Syndrome happens to hear this, I'm going to do my best to push this out on all of our socials. You can find us on Twitter, on the main at Filmgazm. That's Filmgazm Productions, of course, on Twitter. We're also at Filmgazm on Instagram. You can find Caleb on Twitter. He is Scary Caleb 92. I am Zombie Killer, and we're also all on Letterboxd. I'm working my way around to getting more proficient at writing reviews there, but I'll usually definitely rate and give probably a snarky or a little quip about what I've watched. So yeah, be sure to interact with us. You can always email us at filmgasm@gmail.com to send us any kind of information or comments. Feel free to talk to us on YouTube if you want. There are plenty of people that like to ridicule us for erroneously posting two assholes talking about movies instead of the full movie on YouTube.
I get
Uh,
I get the feeling that we won't have that comment on this movie. Hopefully,
you never know.
you
I'm
never
look.
know.
It's the internet.
Look,
I am not going to assume anything.
we true. I was about to say we do have some stuff. I don't want to ruin anything. We got some stuff cooked up, certain big movie sequels coming out that I'm sure we're going to be like, oh, it's not the full movie. These just assholes talking about this really great action film. Hint into a future Filmgasm episode. Um, but yeah, I looked when I was watching this. Well, okay, I looked before the site temporarily had to go down for the V-Day sale. And they do. You're right. They do still have it on their site. Obviously, now they don't have the big fancy hard case because that was limited edition, is what it is. But you can get the basic, the Blu-ray release. And then they also have the Blu-ray. 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 And then they also have the Blu-ray release. But you can get the basic, the Blu-ray release And I was honestly after watching, I was like, I could get that and the comic they did that continues it and be set. Because I think with Vinegar Syndrome 4, I only have one box from them I bought. Not that I haven't tried in the past, but mine was for me it was Roadhouse. As soon as they announced it, I was like, and they did the same thing with the box and the movie and the book. And I was like, there's no way in hell I'm not getting that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think, I think the world deserves more New York Ninja. You might not be the hero you want.
Ninja, you want
He's the hero we need.
the ninja we need.
Look, we could fight all day about this.
I don't have the energy after the day I've had.
Look, I don't want to. I don't want to get into your long, drawn out day. I mean, I got shot in the dick, so do we really want to? Do we really want to like compare notes? I have physical bruises. You have emotional bruises.
Those run so much deeper. I got some from my childhood that haven't gone away.
Look, I don't care what your uncle did to you and why he used mayonnaise, or do we really want to unpack your irrational hatred of beans? I don't think we want to go.
Beans are terrible. Oh God, don't get me started on beans. And my uncle did nothing. He was just a very scary man that never just said hi. It was always, get out of my way, and hey, how are you?
Oh man, I really wish you guys could see Caleb's face when I mentioned the B word. It's like he could be the happiest on cloud nine, loving life, feeling on top of the world. As soon as I say it, he just immediately like turns into fucking Schmeagol, and he's like, "We don't talk about the precious." It's bad. It's funny for me. I love it.
I hate you.
Hey, whatever. I cooked you dinner. Don't even. Don't even.
You're saying that as I'm looking at a can of them right now. I had a traumatic experience when I was a kid, and it hasn't left me.
And he is a true Texan, because if you mention that you're making chili with beans, he will. He has opinions. Let's just say that.
You can make it without beans. It's very easy. You just don't put them in it.
But how else are you going to get your fiber?
Oh my God. Figure it out.
All right, look. If you could figure out, because even though they do tease it at the end, what would have been your sequel for this?
If it wasn't LA
Yeah.
Ninja?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, straight up send his ass to Texas. Houston Ninja. Or Austin Ninja, he'd fit in there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. I mean, he'd get lost in the saucer, I'm pretty sure Austin has some ninjas rolling around there. You know what?
In their mind they do.
Just thought about this. New York Ninja versus the West Virginia Ninja. Do you remember that guy?
Does it involve incest?
No.
Oh.
Well,
no.
maybe. I don't, but
It's West Virginia.
I don't know the guy's personal life. But there's a YouTube video, if you ever look it up, called the West Virginia Ninja, and it's this fucking hillbilly motherfucker, and he's literally going through his ninja class, and he's talking. There's this little bit where he goes, "Oh, you see this right here? Looks like a regular can of backer, doesn't it? No, says I. It's a ninja star." And like he fucking throws this shit at the fucking screen. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It is the most hilarious thing I've ever seen. I look, dear listener, if you haven't seen this, I want you to look up the West Virginia Ninja. After you are done crying from laughter and you change your pants because you've peed yourself, I need you to look up the trailer for New York Ninja. After that, let us know who you think would win. Me personally, I'm gonna back the guy who actually knows how to use a real ninja star and is an actual ninja. But if you think Diamond Dave, that's what he calls himself, would win, let us know.
I mean, with a name like that, I would just love Texas, because I would love to see a film that just stereotypes the living shit out of everything Texas. Just some bad guy in a fucking cowboy hat, the biggest belt buckle. Not too big to be disrespectful to a good standing Texan, but big. And a bolo tie and everything. Oh my god, I'd be laughing my ass off. He only drinks Dr. Pepper. He does not accept Pib as a substitute. Shiner or insert any litany of fucking Texas beer there.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so we will never get to know what LA Ninja would have been.
Him fighting hipsters.
Not in the 80s.
Oh yeah, LA in the 80s.
It would have been like the
Porn
Crips and
industry.
Bloods.
Sorry.
No, what? No. Now, given his day job as a sound engineer, he probably would have been all over those sets.
This is true.
Just saying.
I read recently, I don't know why this blew my mind, but I read that porn sets smell horrendous.
I don't want to know how you got down that rabbit hole or what led you there.
You don't need to know. There's
No.
a lot of lonely nights that I spend here.
Don't I know it? And I'm just at the other end of the apartment.
Door shut. You don't know what happens outside that door.
No, and I don't want to know. So, all right, hit me. What's your rating for the New York Ninja?
Ah, wow. Oof. On the spot. My rating, a one. I'm kidding. Just fucking come out and be like, this movie was actually. No. I gave it, since we're now migrating over the letterbox, I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. Lots of fun. Really, like I said, really enjoyed it. From the outrageous characters, the commitment from Vinegar Syndrome, and all the actors involved to really commit to saying, like, let's make this a martial art film that feels like one of that time period. Absolute respect to that. Yeah, the fight choreography, it's a little over the top, a little goofy, but it works. It's just fun. I can easily see myself watching this again and again, especially if I have some friends over there like, let's watch something fun. Okay, I got the movie for you right here.
Yeah, I gave it a straight 4 out of 5 using Letterboxd, mostly because the story behind this movie, to me, elevates it from just a straight forgotten film to being something that was a lot more enjoyable. I definitely would have loved this movie just as it was. Even if I didn't have the compelling story behind it, but I think the fact that there was 35 years from when this movie was not even finished, but dumped in cans, left in a box to gather dust, and then rediscovered and, actually edited for the first time. The fact that we're sitting here talking about it almost 40 years after it was originally shot, I think that in and of itself should compel people just to watch it. I won't say it's for everybody, unless you're a real diehard of weird genre movies. You probably will walk away just going like, ooh, why did I waste my time watching this? To which I will say, just fucking have fun. Like, I've said this more than once. The biggest crime a movie can make to me is to be boring, and New York Ninja is far from boring. From having top-notch genre actors to provide the voices for the characters, to the group Voyager making a brand new score for this, which you can get on Spotify. I actually like a lot of the songs on there, and for quite the treat, at the end of the movie, stick around during the credits, you will get the New York Ninja rap. No, I am not joking. That is an actual thing. It is well worth the price of admission to watch the movie. I do think you can actually stream this through, if you have a subscription to Showtime. So if you can't actually get your hands on the Blu-ray, why not give Vinegar Syndrome money? Because they're just going to find more weird shit put out. Keep giving them your money, folks. They're gonna keep finding more New York Ninjas out there.
Yeah. And also with the rap, and then again another little element that I liked that felt so true to the time period, because if you think kind of like I think it stopped filming like 1984 or something like that. That was the height of like people like Dokken coming out with the Nightmare on Elm Street song, and the Nightmare on Elm Street raps, and Alice Cooper doing the Friday 13th song, like that period of like artists doing musical tie-ins to movies that were usually, to their credit, almost always catchy. Like there's very few that I just downright don't like. They're usually catchy. So again, just another element that they included to kind of give you that vibe of the time it came out, and to go with it and keep having that good time even when the credits are rolling.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I don't have much else to say about this right now. Like I said, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Filmgazm. We're also on Facebook, pretty much all over the socials. You can email us at filmgazm@gmail.com. Give us suggestions for anything you want us to talk about. We also post the episodes on YouTube and across all the podcasting apps. You can find me on Twitter at Zombie Killer. Caleb is Scary Caleb 92. Feel free to interact with us. Don't worry, we won't bite. And if you really want to make Caleb's day, just try and have a conversation with him about beans.
I'll murder you. Then I will bite.
With that said, next week we should be tackling the Jack Nicholson, Michelle Pfeiffer, James Spader, to me, a very horny werewolf movie, Wolf. There's also on Oscar Sunday, they'll be talking about The Matrix, along with the 72nd Academy Awards.
Speaking of action right there.
Yeah, for real. What do you got coming up on Beyond the Bad?
Oh, we're taking a look at an early Adam Sandler, favorite amongst fans, but pretty hated by the critics. The Waterboy, which after sitting through the Zodiac Killer, which has an insanely more interesting story than film itself. Which check out Beyond the Bad on that one this week when we hear one of the most insane stories about how a film got made and its release. But yeah, we'll be tackling The Waterboy. Connor hasn't actually seen this one, so this will be a first time Sandler watch for him. I have seen it. It's a personal favorite of mine. It's also been years, so who knows how many times I'm going to be going like, oh, we can't say that anymore. As since that happens when you watch comedies from your youth years later. So I'm looking forward to doing it. This has always been like I said, a personal favorite Sandler film. I think his early run of films is just fucking great. Yeah, I think he's been a lot more hit and miss in more recent years, but man, that early run was great. And yeah, should hopefully be a fun time, barring Connor not liking The Waterboy.
Well, I will say this. Connor has very specific tastes. It's very easy to assume that he may or may not like this. Then again, it just depends on, I guess, how he likes certain jokes and whether or not he can tolerate looking at Rob Schneider.
Oh yeah, that's right. Rob Schneider is in almost all of Sandler's early films.
Yep. Yeah. So don't forget to tune in next week when they'll be talking about horny werewolves and book publishing and how that got put together. But until then, if you're ever in trouble, just look to the skies and keep your eyes peeled for a ninja.